everyone, welcome back to the Just Dance podcast. I'm Jenna.
I'm Krista.
I'm Gwen.
And I'm Layla.
Podcast. We will discuss the Oklahoma Festival of Ballet, and we will look at things like dramaturgy, elements, audience perspective, and the overall themes of the ballet in general. Just dance, because words can't say it all.
Alright, so what did you guys think of the ballet? Did you like it?
So for the stage elements, I saw that the lighting for the first dance, the fantasy impromptu, it was kind of like bright, and they had like chandeliers as like the setting. The music was very like classical, which related to the theme, and the costumes were kind of like an 1800s like ballroom type. Yeah, I really feel like all the stage elements just really brought the whole like setting and storyline together.
Yeah, the costumes like definitely gave like Bridgerton vibes.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
agree.
I felt like I was in Bridgerton.
No, yeah.
But the second performance was like kind of like a dark like forest. The lighting was dark on the floor, and there was like a big like tree, which like kind of related to like the storyline of like Adam and Eve. The music was really different from the first one because it was like kind of like haunting and like more like sharp and harsh. The costuming was also like kind of weird because it was like more related to like the storyline,
Yeah.
you know, like they kind of looked like they were wearing leaves. So I feel like the stage elements definitely like made both dances like you can like understand the story more.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I feel like it made the mood of the story. Like the first one, it was like fun because of all the like props, and the second one was like eerie and like dark.
Like, oh, we're getting
Like,
serious.
yes, like
Yeah.
right off the bat with the music, the everything, it just was very, like, very different.
Yeah.
I agree.
I also like that, just the fact that like we're seeing a ballet where all of these dancers like come from different backgrounds, come from different like, you know.
Yeah, especially like I looked into like certain dancers in the performance, and they all came from like prestigious schools, and like it really shows like how well like how educated they are in dance and how it shows through the performance. Like I could definitely tell that they've done this for years, and I think that elevated the festival or the ballet performance as a whole.
Yeah, and like if we like looked at the two different like I guess performances like from fantasy impromptu, like they were very like it's like very what you think of like when you think of like classical ballet. Like they were very like upright, you know, chin like they're you know. And when you think of ballet, like our teachers always tell us to keep our chins up and stuff, and like they're very lifted. They were controlling their like arms, and you know it was very like. Oh, here we're doing ballet. Like
Very,
very like
like,
what you think
graceful.
of when you think of ballet, and like their effort. Like there wasn't much effort. Like the whole point of a ballet is like the dancers aren't supposed to seem like they're like putting any effort into it. So it's very light and quick and like fun energy, and like I feel like they were very symmetrical. Like everyone was like doing the exact same thing. You know?
Mm-hmm.
It's very like together. And they were kind of like confined in their own space. Like they were just like,
Yeah,
you know, this is like
they had their formations.
yeah, and they just like knew what they're doing.
It was kind of just like what you would think of a traditional ballet performance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it was definitely like when I saw it, I was like, this could be like a repertoire of some sorts. You know,
And it
what
was
I
a
mean?
bit more predictable.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, definitely like a lot of repetition, and like their movements were very similar. And I also saw a lot of Italian flattes. Don't know what that was about, but like. Okay, and then like compared to the second one was like the exact opposite. Like I don't even know what they're like. They were just like it was definitely more contemporary ballet.
I agree.
Like
Yeah.
they were very more like their bodies were more tense
Mm-hmm.
and like whatnot, and their effort like you could see these people they're putting an effort. Like they're like their movements are very strong. They have like energy, and they're like they have some like motive that they're going towards, and like they were kind of like reaching out of their own like space. They were like expanding and using up the entire stage. Even though there was only two of them, I felt like they were moving so like using the stage so much more than the first one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I noticed that their movement was really like correlated to the music.
Yeah.
Like it was very like the music would make a noise and then their body would like also change in a way. To the choreographers, for the first one, I researched him a little bit. His name is Boyko Dosiv. And with his whole thing, he kind of focuses on music when he's like choreographing. And he like quoted that music plays an enormous part in his work. So I feel like in the first one, you can kind of see how like the music was like classical and like how his like choreography like also tried to represent that. Her name is Raina Butler. She her past works really focus on like tradition or faith or showing like some sort of like value, and she like often like explored like to show like an identity or a narrative or culture, which like we can see because the second performance was like kind of a representation of Adam and Eve, which like shows that like she's trying to like use dance as a way to represent like her faith.
Yeah, which I think was very like well construed is the word. I don't know what I'm thinking of, but like I could tell like right when I watched it, like, oh, that's Adam and Eve. Like I had no previous knowledge of what the play or the performance was, but when I saw it, I was like, okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, I could kind of tell like what, like I didn't at first, I kind of wasn't thinking, but then I was like seeing like her picking the apple and like I could see the way that they fed off of each other. I started like getting a picture in my mind and I was like, okay, I see where this is going. Like
Yeah, I feel like the use of like the costuming and like the props of like the tree and like the way that choreography like showed like them getting in the apple really like told the story
and
about
like their reactions to it, like I feel like it changed a bit. Like after she grabbed the apple, it became a bit different. Like they were really reacting off of each other and like there was a lot more drama.
Also the fact that like the tree just like kind of like moved with them. Like it was just like almost like it was like pulling them.
Yeah. When I like interviewed the audience after the performance, a lot of people had reactions on that particular performance. They said it like moved them a lot. One particular person says when the woman like looked at us directly in the audience, they thought it was cool and it like scared them, which I think gets the point that
No, it actually gave me chills. Like,
I know.
Actually,
She turned to me in the middle of the performance.
Yeah, personally, I feel like the second performance, like as soon as I heard the music and like saw their costume, I was like immediately like more like drawn
Right away,
into it.
it like it set a whole different like mood and like feeling.
Like even in the first performance, like moving away from the second one, I got interviews from people that just said that like their mood was reflective of what the show was. Like it was more like elegant, someone said, and it made them like happy because their movements were like lighter, more childish, kind of more traditional. So I think the audience overall like reflected what the choreographer was meaning to do.
Yeah. So something that I looked into a lot was the dramaturgy of these two performances, which I think they were both very different. Like that's something that I noticed when I was looking into it. The first performance, Fantasy Impromptu, was it was a very light and upbeat. I almost felt like there was somewhat of a love story in there, with like the male and the female leads. They were like the whole performance just created a very joyful and like uplifting atmosphere throughout the story, and like using the story, choreography, music, scenic elements, costuming, it all really came together to like all give off that same vibe. The plot was very based around like themes of happiness and connection and like I feel like almost a celebration of love and friendship.
I also think like knowing what the background of the choreographers are, like how was it he made he made his like now knowing that he makes his choreography based on like the music that he selects. Now we can kind of see that more.
Yeah.
through the dramaturgy.
Because I feel like for the first performance, the narrative is kind of like almost like up to your own interpretation. Because there's not really like a specific story, but like through the music, there's like a theme.
Like you could kind of interpret it like how you wanted. It was more of like a feeling that you got.
And just like even hearing like the name Fantasy Impromptu, like I know that's the name of that is actually the name of the music too.
Yeah, but
So,
it has like almost a positive connotation. Like
Yeah.
you could really see what the theme kind of was supposed to revolve around, like how the performers looked at each other and they were like smiling at each other. It almost seemed like they were kind of chasing each other. And like they had very light and effortless movements. And then the choreography was like very lively, very flowy. There were lots of lifts, and like spins and playful interactions between the dancers, which I really felt like expressed like warmth and affection. And again, the music was very bright and energetic, which gave a cheerful mood, and I can see like how the dance was based off of the music. And the costumes and the lighting it was all very like soft and vibrant, and I feel like that just also enhanced like the feelings of lightness and joy. And I feel like overall for the first performance, the dramaturgy definitely aimed to like engage the audience emotionally, and I feel like it really left us all with feelings of like happiness and joy and connection.
I agree with that actually.
That's how I felt after I saw it.
Yeah. After that one, I was like very happy mood.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, I want to go do that. Like, that
Right.
sounds
I
fun.
know.
That was cute.
So comparing it to the second performance, Tesla,
I think, right?
yeah. It definitely had a darker, more ominous contemporary ballet feel. And it was a bit more abstract, I feel like, with the movements, and I know the storyline was probably more set than the first one because it had more of like a biblical backstory, but it almost like it felt kind of less literal because of how just like abstract they were, and it kind of just, I feel like it made me really have to analyze their emotions and like analyze what they were. I really had to analyze what they were trying to portray to the audience based on like how they would react to each other. And I feel like the dramaturgy really focused on creating like a more mysterious and intense atmosphere through like the more abstract movements, and like the costuming was a lot more simple. It was more sleek. It was darker. It definitely wasn't like frilly or like there were no gowns like the first one. It was just like a dark leotard.
Yeah, I feel like it wasn't like in the first one, like the costuming, it was very important. Like, okay, we want to dress them like this to like express, you know, cheerfulness and playfulness. But in the second one, it was kind of like the costuming is not the main focus. We want to focus on like the dancers and the movement and like the story that is being told.
Yeah. I feel like the music too really affected the dramaturgy because it like right off the bat it had like a lot more bass and like darker tones, like harder hitting instruments. I feel like more like pauses. Like there were some points of like silence and there were just like drum beats, and I feel like that really like I feel like it really showed themes that they were trying to portray, like inner conflict, fear, and there were like definitely more moments of like tension and like release, and I feel like that really showed like the emotional complexity of this performance a lot more compared to the first one. Because I feel like the first one I had like a feeling of happiness, but the second one I was kind of like, oh, what are they feeling? Like this is like a lot, it feels a lot more complex.
Yeah, I feel like with all the points, like the music, the outfits, all of it kind of screamed like bold and just like look at me, and it made everyone kind of like focus in more on it. I think that's why like the audience had more of a reaction to that one, because everything was so pulling in towards it. And I think that really affected like the dramaturgy.
No, like oh, go.
I think like the two performances had like very like different types of dramaturgies. Like you said, the second one was like kind of more like clear and like attention grabbing.
Yeah.
And it definitely, like, the mood was a lot deeper, and I definitely like had some like feelings of like uneasiness and like suspense, and I feel like the whole audience kind of felt that. Like I could feel like everyone kind of holding their breath.
Yeah.
And I feel like it really, this performance like invited the audience to interpret their emotions and like the theme in a very personal and like analytical way. And I feel like it made the whole experience of the second performance like a lot more thought-provoking.
Yeah. I mean, if we like move into like, I guess the culture of like the cultural background of both the dances and just like the context of them, like if we saw the first one, like it was very like Western, like, you know, this is like, you know, it's like European, like courts, kind of like.
Yeah. Kind of felt like a ballroom.
Yeah, that's what I got from it.
So like, and kind of like Renaissance, like
Yeah,
vibes.
1800s.
Yeah, and it was like, and like it also had that traditional ballet aspect, which, you know, like we think like didn't ballet like originate in like Europe? I don't know. Anyways, but like
so.
it's like something, some king.
Yeah.
But anyways, so it was, you know, it's kind of, we see that elegance, that's like the structure of it and like the precision of it all. And just like the colorful costumes, like we said, the ballet setting, and just like the ideas, like they're supposed to be graceful. Everyone was kind of orderly, like, okay, we're gonna do this now. We're gonna like, it wasn't like nowadays, I guess if we go to like a ballroom or like a ball, like everyone's gonna be doing their own thing. There's not gonna be like, no one's gonna know like set dances. But I feel like if we watch, like if you ever watch Bridgerton, they all know the dances.
Yeah.
They all like, okay, the men are gonna line up, the girls are gonna line up, and they're gonna dance together. Like everyone knows, and it kind of gave that vibe.
Oh yeah.
And it was very like quick footwork, and like they were all like light and happy and whatnot, and just like if we go to the next one, like it's just like the complete opposite, like all of that, I guess, structure and that, you know, what we think of when we think of, I don't want to say, not beauty, not like
Elegance, beauty. I mean, I feel like there is a beauty, like.
Yeah, I guess what, in like traditional in our minds, like what we see as traditional, because it was more like biblical. It was very like, okay, this is the Old Testament, so it's gonna be very intense. We're gonna see, cause like there's gonna be a lot of drama, and it's just like in the Old Testament, that's when everything was being like, I guess, created. So like there also is the sense of like creation, and like when things are being created and you don't know things, there's gonna be like fear, and there's gonna be like the unknown, and so it was kind of that, and so it was very ominous and like dark. And there's just like this sense of like, I feel like humans are like have a very innate sense of like wanting power, and like I feel like it was also like that they were fighting like, do we take the apple, do we not, you know, like what kind of in like being drawn to this tree, like we said before, and just like, I don't know if that makes sense.
By the way,
But like it was very emotional.
Ballet did originate in like Italian Renaissance courts.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
Okay, that's
Makes
what that,
sense.
I'm trying to remember where it was, because I know I've learned about this before.
No, that very much gave, like, the first one was very.
Yeah. And I feel like the second one was contradictory in that sense. Like it was it seemed traditional because it was the Bible, but it was also untraditional in that like the
Yeah.
boldness of it,
And it
how-
wasn't like classical ballet. It was
Yeah.
more
Kind of
contemporary.
Yeah,
That's cool.
yeah.
I guess
I
I
didn't
never
notice
thought
that
about it that
before.
way,
Yeah. Traditional, but like not traditional.
Yeah.
Okay, after like, you know, discussing everything, did your opinions at all change about how you thought about the performance? Like, was there anything that like, they're like, oh, okay, like, damn, you know?
I kind of noticed like the contrast between the performances within each performance. Like I never really noticed that. Like I feel like the first one was very traditional and classical, but it was more interpretive almost. When you would think that like a contemporary ballet dance would be more interpretive usually, but this one definitely had more of a storyline, and it was traditional in the sense that it like came from the Bible, and I thought that was very interesting looking at both of them.
Yeah, like after the performances, I definitely had like my opinions, like, oh, this one was like boring, but this one was, but like looking more into it and like being able to dissect like the choreography, like everything that went into it, it makes me more, I guess, more, I don't know the word I'm looking for, but more like I understand this performance more, and I like sympathize with it more.
I feel like for me, I really like was able to notice how like specifically like the lighting and like the props like played into the storyline. Because like if I were to go to like a ballet performance maybe like a month ago, I would kind of just watch like just sit there and watch. But I feel like now I'm more like looking at like how the lighting affected the dancers and the storyline, how it makes me feel, and like why the choreographer like chose to do stuff, and like that affects like how I interpret it now.
Yeah, I also just like, for me, it was definitely knowing like, okay, what the dancers thought of it, what the choreographer thought of it, and what the audience thought of it, and just like, and then obviously my own personal thoughts. It kind of made me think about the ballet in a different way instead of like, and especially being like a ballet dancer myself, I definitely had my opinions on it, but then knowing, you know, okay, this is what the choreographer was thinking when they went into this piece, and this is what the audience kind of took from it. It definitely made me, you know, think of it on a deeper level that I definitely have never done before, which was nice.
Yeah, I know. I do think it was really, it almost weird to be watching an audience because I am a dancer too, and like usually I know exactly what the choreographer is going for, and like we usually have to kind of research before, and they're like, you need to know what you're trying to portray on stage. So kind of having to like dissect it as an audience member was definitely, I would say, it was challenging, but it made me realize like how many different ways that like the audience can interpret things, and how many different ways that the performers themselves can like portray things differently.
Yeah.
Okay, well, anyways, thanks for listening to our podcast.
Just dance, because words can't say